Roll Tide, everybody. Welcome to R&R Cigar here in Tuscaloosa, the home of the victory cigar in Alabama with a 34-20 win over Tennessee. So a lot to be excited about with this win over the Vols. So much to get into. I mean, really, so much to get into with this win over Tennessee. Can't wait to hear from you guys on the phones. We're at R&R Cigar. We're going to smoke our victory cigars. I got a victory cigar right here, and I'm going to crack this thing open here soon and smoke it. Just really, what a tale of two halves with this football game. Alabama did not look good in the first half, and for those of you guys that are hanging out with us, Roll Tide. Yeah, Roll Tide, 7-1. Roll Tide. And Jersey Dolphins, Roll Tide, man. Or Roll motherfucking Tide. Yeah, we can say that on the net. I'm telling you, this is a tough game. You know what? Tennessee is not a bad football team. They're pretty good football. They came out with a great game plan against Alabama today. They had confidence. We saw Joe Milton do things that we just weren't expecting him to do, but he was able to throw some deep passes. They were able to score. And, and of course, Alabama just kept fighting back. And in the second half, they took control of this football game. I thought Jalen Milroe had one of his best games. I wish Seth McLaughlin was more consistent. If Kool-Aid McTree doesn't want to punt, then put somebody else back there. And I get it. He's a great corner, but him running out of the way of the punt and him not returning punts is getting to the point now where we got to talk about that. What did you guys think, though? Get on the phones. Tell me what you think. I'm still, honestly, I'm just so happy. I mean, look, I'm glad that Alabama won this football game. I mean, I think a lot of us are just so impressed by the way that Alabama came out and played the second half of the game, made things happen, and ended up winning the football game. And, and this is a big game. I mean, it is. Anytime you win a game in conference, it's big. When you talk about the ability of this team to kind of overcome a lot of the issues that they've had, that's big. Here we're at R&R Cigars. And I mean, people are going to be in here. I got to get the extra. You're going to love it because people are in here. Just kind of sitting back and thinking about this football game and what a big win this was for Alabama. So I just think that these are the kind of wins that you got to. I'm from Georgia. Roll, my friend. How you doing?
Ours and another 12-pack of Yingling Flights. So we're happy here. I just got a few observations. One, the MVP of this game is Tommy Reese. I'm going to tell you why. He is controlling Milroe, minimizing Milroe's mistakes because Milroe's not the greatest QB, and he did a really good job today, and I think he deserves a lot of credit. Number two, the defense is nasty, and this defense
to make plays.
question for you is, when I look at this team today and I look at Milroe, I think about Georgia. Now, how do you think we stack up against Georgia? Do you think our offense is good enough to hang with Georgia and come out with a victory?
Man, I'll be honest with you. I think we can beat Georgia, but I think we got to get by LSU first. I think we got to get by Kentucky. I think we got to win the games on the schedule. There's nothing about this team that makes me confident that we're just going to go in and kick the crap out of somebody. I think that with this team, what's going to come down for them is like our friend Tom Abraham says on the Tailgate show. Yeah, it's week to week, and I think what he means by that is that they're not good enough to overlook anybody. The first half of this game was really it was like the second half of the second half against Arkansas, just bad football.
Right.
But give these guys
Yeah, I agree, and I can't wait to smoke my cigar. It's a very happy day, man. Roll Tide, and let's keep hoping. This team has heart, and I think we got a chance. Good talking to you.
Hey, thanks. Great talking to you, too. I was telling Cheryl Yingling, I said, your girlfriend called and said that you guys buying – like I think beating Tennessee is a big deal. I mean, I just think anytime you beat them, it's a big deal. And I think that these games are important. And when you get the opportunity to win a rivalry game, something that when I was in school we never did, that you got to appreciate it. So I mean, I'm really happy about this game. And I think that winning this game is important, and it's great for Alabama. Who's this and where are you calling from?
It's Brett calling from Jasper, Alabama.
From Walker County, Mr. Brett Elmore. Brett with the great pipes, brother. This cigar right here is for you, man. Roll Tide. How you doing?
Smoke them if you got them.
Smoke them if you got them. Where's Goose
them.
Tree? Where's Goose Tree when we need him?
Golly, man. I tell you what, this Alabama team has more personalities than my ex-wife.
He said the Alabama team has more.
Jekyll and Hyde.
Brett, let me tell these guys this. He just said that Alabama's got more personalities than his ex-wife. That's the quote of the day right there. Anyway.
I mean, I'm serious. I mean, I'm watching it. I'm like, in the first half, I'm like, and I texted you, and I was like, what in the hell is going on? We're going to get blown out of the stadium. And, the first half, I'm like searching prices on tickets for the Birmingham Bowl. And then the second half, I'm looking at like flights to the semifinals of the playoffs. It's like we could beat anyone in the second half. In the first half, we couldn't beat anyone.
Man, Brett, they sent me pictures. People were sending me pictures last year that I never – there were so many 865 area codes coming through my phone last year of people with cigars.
Right.
And I was like, hey, man, you guys haven't won in a while. I'm cool with that. But I'm going to tell you this right now, Brett. You watching?
Yeah.
That's for them.
There you
That's
go.
for them.
There you go.
Chief 18 Wheels.
I love it.
Bro, that's for you too. I'm giving you a toke right here.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's getting one. Keep going, Brad. Just keep going. Keep going. Roll Tide, man.
Second half, totally different team. Of course, Tennessee, no points and a turnover, the scoop and score.
Mm-hmm.
And then Alabama scored on every possession until they were trying to milk the clock out.
Look, I mean, when the only complaint is Kool-Aid running out of the way on the punts, I mean, I think that's a – Yeah,
and I don't understand that. Catch the damn ball. What are you doing?
Yeah, if you don't want the smoke, then get out of the fire. You know what I mean? You don't have to do that.
But Mick, I won't keep you long.
No,
but
keep me, bro. Keep me today.
All right. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I thought Alabama was the most penalized team in the SEC coming into this ball game.
They were the most sacked team.
Am I right about that?
I think they were the most sacked team coming in, but I don't know about the most penalized. They could be. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me.
Okay, let's talk about tonight's game. What? Only one penalty? Penalties have been a problem all year. Was it one penalty for 5 yards?
Mm-hmm. They didn't get a bunch of penalties. And Tennessee got a lot of penalties.
1 penalty for 5 yards.
I felt like tonight was
1 penalty for 5 yards.
I felt like tonight was a makeup from that disaster of officiating last year. Because some of those penalties against Tennessee, I was like, man, there was a holding penalty where I was like, I don't know about that. But you know what? Last year you called that penalty on the interception that Kool-Aid made that cost the game, you know?
Right. Well, last year, 17 penalties, 130 yards against Tennessee.
Right.
And they had 6 penalties for 39 yards.
Yep.
I'm glad to see that they've cleaned that up, at least for this game. I hope it continues on. But, we had so many pre-snap penalties, so many penalties throughout the season. I was glad to see, and that may have been a huge difference in the game. If we would have had the penalties that we've been suffering from this whole year, it may be a different outcome. I don't know.
Brett, why does it feel so good to beat these guys? Is it that they rubbed our noses in shit last year like they did? Is it that when the Alabama fans were leaving the stadium, they were just talking so much shit last year? Is that why it feels so good? And I hope that our fans don't do that. I hope that when we're leaving the stadium, all we do is just say, hey, man, we'll see you guys next year and tip a cigar to them, because that's the way you're supposed to do it at Alabama.
Yeah, it is. And, be respectful. And, I can't help it. They got that ass whipped in the second half.
How about Chase McClellan had a pretty big game today. 27 carries, 115 yards, a touchdown. He had some big runs. Yeah,
had some big runs. And Jalen in the second half, looked fine, 220 yards, 14 to 21.
Up, he stepped up.
He really did. And I was glad that he started running the football. He's got some wheels on him.
He does. Well, you know what?
Like,
he's still not running like he did at the beginning of the year, but he ran the football today, and that to me was the difference in the football game. What do you think?
Right. Yes. And we need more of that. But I don't know what was said in the locker room there at halftime, but maybe Coach Saban told Coach Reese to there's more than 2 pages in our playbook. Let's go and find a few more, things to, put into our system here. But
I thought, look, man,
anyway,
I'm going to put this up.
Well,
let me put this up. Adam called and he said that he felt like that Reese did a good job of, controlling the game and calling plays. I'm not arguing with that, man. I mean, I feel like this offense is limited in some areas, but when they got into a groove, Dennis Franchione used to talk about being a play ahead, playing a play ahead. And I felt like that's what we saw in the second half. Bama was a play ahead of their defense, play in and play out. And you got to give Tommy Reese. We've criticized Tommy Reese. Sometimes he's a young guy. He's learning how to do this at this level.
Sure.
But I agree with the fact that offense was a play ahead of their defense, and that's a damn good defense, and that's a good Tennessee football team. Those guys came in. This isn't those Tennessee teams that hung their head, and some of those ass whoopings that Tennessee got over the 15 were just bad teams. This is not a bad team. That's a good football team. They're coached well. They're a program that I think is on the rise right now, which makes this rivalry a little bit more interesting. But Tommy Reese had that offense a play ahead in the second half, and that bomb that they started out the second half with changed the entire football game. Entire football game. That's why we're smoking these cigars, and they're not in here smoking cigars right now. I mean, everybody in here agrees.
Right. When they came out and 2 plays and into the end zone for a touchdown, I thought, where have these guys been all day long?
Female Franco says that she was on the Tennessee live stream, and the dude said it's too bad the refs didn't help us this year. Hey, that might be. Great. Hey, you guys are going to have to come up with the comment section is going to have to step up because right now she's leading the pack. That's the comment of the year. That's right. The night anyway. Yeah,
that's right. That's right. But man, would you say, and I'll close with this, would you say this is maybe the best win of the season?
Yes, I say this is the best win of the season. Yeah. I thought the first half, I thought Tennessee just jumped us. I thought Tennessee just came in. They played better football. They were running downhill on us. They were mixing it up. I thought that that's the best that Joe Milton is. That's what they wanted when they got Joe Milton to transfer from Michigan. That's the guy that they had last year with Hendon Hooker, where you could throw a deep pass. That first touchdown that they had was precision. No, you can't throw or catch a better ball than that. We saw Jalen Wright running the football and doing some things. Like, their defense was playing tough. Like, I got nothing but respect for Tennessee. I think they're a good football team, and I think that's what makes this win great. And I'm 2-0 now this week on my picks. So that makes me feel better, too, because Bama covered that 9-point spread. They were begging everybody to take Tennessee out in Vegas. They knew something, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. They know more than we do.
Yeah, but, brother, it's great to hear your voice, man.
Enjoy your cigar and enjoy the night in Tuscaloosa, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Well, can I just get a Roll Tide from you? Roll Tide from back here. What about
Roll Tide? And my apologies to my ex-wife. I really didn't mean that, but screw you.
He apologized.
You do have multiple personalities, and so does this team.
All right, man. Great call, Brett. Thanks, brother.
Bye.
All right, let's go right back to the phone lines again. I think we got another call waiting. Maybe we don't. I don't know. I'm telling you right now that it's just great when you have a game like this. It's just great when you win a game like this. These games mean a lot, and it feels different when it's an even battle. And I felt like today was an even battle, and great win for Alabama. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, man, it's Robert from Mobile.
Robert, man, I've been thinking about you all week because you had the quote. You were telling me about style points. I think Alabama moonwalked all over them in the second half. What do you think, man?
Yeah, it's once again, this is the tale of two halves of football. It'd be great if we could put together two halves, but it's just not gonna. That's not their team this season.
It's not.
A lot of teams are doing this, though. You know, whoever I struggle, Oklahoma. Now they're struggling. They struggle against a team that they should have easily beaten. And Georgia, because had their struggles with South Carolina and the like. And so it's just that type of season in college football. We'll still need some chaos, but I think there's chaos to be had.
Yeah.
We still gonna need some teams to lose if we want SEC team in. If all four teams went out, if all these undefeated went out, then we wouldn't. But the likelihood of two of them losing, I think, is very high right now.
Right.
I'm even looking for Florida to beat Florida State. To pull the ones to stay the SEC.
I'd be fine with that.
Washington has lost. Yeah, I think Washington has a loss. So we'll need the chaos, unfortunately, this season. But I think we'll get the chaos. And there's always that November when that chaos really kicks into gear.
You got oh yeah, man. You got to love Milroe is. The dude's tough, man. I mean, he's not Bryce Young. He's not Mac Jones. He's not Jalen Hurts yet. He's not Tua, but he's him. And him is a tough. Yeah. He's a tough dude, man. He takes the hits. This wasn't his best game. I mean, statistically, 14 to 21, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. And the interception I thought was just a bad play call, but the guy just stays in. It was the wheels in the game that made the difference today. And his poise, man, the guy's got a lot of poise.
The weird thing is I guess it was I guess he took some sacks, but he only had 3 yards rushing, and that's extremely surprising.
Well, because he gets sacked a lot.
Yeah, and I guess that's the problem, which again we got to figure out what to do about these sacks. But I guess I was expecting him to have like 60, 70 yards rushing, but I guess it was the sack that knocked it out. We just got to figure out early on the identity of the team and what kind of quarterback we want him to be. Right now, you're not going to NFL next season, Milroe. So you don't have to prove anything to the NFL right now.
Right.
If you decide to become that Cam Newton type, Jalen Hurts type quarterback, in college football quarterback, you can carry this team to a national championship.
Yeah.
A Jalen Hurts type quarterback. I watched Jalen Hurts. I rewatched the game from when Jalen Hurts beat the 49ers to 3. And it was just those timely runs, those timely throws. He wasn't perfect, but he would take off and run at exactly the right time to keep the chains moving.
Right.
And when Milroe did that, like you said, in the second half, that's when the magic started happening.
Mm-hmm. Well, it gave him one more thing to think about.
Yeah, exactly. If he just pulls up those Jalen Hurts films from because the defense is stacked, the defense is ready to go. If he just pulls up those films of Jalen Hurts and how he did it, man, you play that style of football, we can go with this.
Yes.
It's just you're gonna light them up for 50, 60, 70, 100 yards rushing every game. They know it's coming. It's coming. Get in that mindset and stay in that mindset from first quarter to fourth quarter, and we're good. It's just, we can't keep waiting until for a good half, and then we're gone for a whole half. I mean, it's working so far. It didn't work against Texas, but we're not the same team. Neither is Texas that we played that game.
Right.
But it could carry. It can beat the Georgia. It can beat the Ohio. It can beat anybody.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I think we beat Georgia if we play them. I think LSU could give us some trouble because they have a dynamic offense but they don't tackle. This is a perfect time for a week off. It's the perfect time for a week off.
For us to get and that's another thing. Like when LSU, how you handle a good offense? You run the ball and you keep them on the sideline. That's how you beat them.
Yep.
And we can do that.
Yep.
If we play like we played today in the second half, we can do that. And it's time to get that identity. Well, what you saying? What's this team identity? There's your identity.
Yep.
I'll run with.
Yep. You know what their identity is? That defense is it's gonna eventually figure you out.
Exactly.
The defense. I was on one of the Tennessee shows this week, and they were asking me what I thought about Kevin Steele, what y'all thought about Kevin Steele. I said we like Kevin Steele. We like Kevin Steele. The Steele defense is an Alabama defense. They gave up the one touchdown on the blitz, and as much as I hated to see that at the end of the half, I was glad that we went after that guy. Let's rattle him. Let's get in this. Let's put some pressure on him. It didn't work out, but you know what? It's not like when Pete Golding's back there and you're just sitting back and you're sitting back and you're sitting back. And now it's like, hey, we're going to come after you. If you can make the play, make it. And he made it that time, but he didn't make it the rest of the game. The second half, they were the deer in the headlights in the second half.
Oh, I just love how Milroe. He remind me of Chandler. He is Enter Mac Jones, making the defense jump offside.
No, it was great.
Thank you.
I know.
Mac Jones used to do it at least twice a game.
I know.
Against all opponents.
I know it. And then Seth McLaughlin again
that was great to watch.
with them snaps, man. I don't know. It's
exactly.
It is what it is. It is what it is. But I'll take beating these guys by 14, coming from behind like we did on them. I'll take that. I mean, this was an enjoyable football game. The second half, the way that they came out and jumped on those guys, they had a sense of urgency. That's what Alabama football is about, right there.
Yeah, it felt like the Texas A&M game all over again.
It did. It did.
bad first half, but in the second half, we take care of business. The defense shuts them down. I mean, wow, a shutout in the second half, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. And then you feel satisfied you came out there with the victory. Like you said, then this is what it felt like again. So like I said, we go to the bye week. Hopefully the team won't be feeling too good like they did after that Texas A&M game, and they, stumbled against Arkansas. But because this is LSU. This is another rivalry game.
Right.
So you got to come out here ready to click on all cylinders. So, but yep, you got to go like this victory, cigar.
Hey, well,
you later, dude.
Yeah, great to talk to you, Robert. Thanks for calling back, man. And roll tide. Yeah, and smoke them if you got them. That's the theme of this game. That's the theme of this game. And yeah, it's 16-17, but this one felt really good. This was one I'm so glad that they got this one. I'm just so glad that they got it because you just never know. You just don't know. And it's like you want them. If you get the opportunity to win these games, you want to win them. And Tennessee came out and they hit Alabama and the Tide came back. Let's look at the numbers. And you guys call in. Let me put the phone number up there again. Milton ended up 28 of 41, 271 yards, 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. But the sack, scoop, and score changed the game. At R&R, when the scoop and score happened, it was nuts in here. People, high fives everywhere. You knew that the cigars started coming off the shelves. Everybody knew it was time. That was the game-changing play of the game. That one right there. But I'm still just sitting here going, man, I can't believe that. All right, yeah, Roydell Williams had 6 carries for 20 yards. Isaiah Bond had the touchdown that changed the whole game. 3 catches, 77 yards. It's so hard to figure out with Alabama, what guy's going to step up in the receiver room. But 14 receptions for the receivers in this game, and it was a host of different guys that caught the ball. Jermaine Burton had one of the best catches he's had at Alabama, and he had that big game against Texas A&M. But I thought he had a catch that he caught the ball in traffic and then just kind of put his head down and was carrying guys. He got a touchdown. That was a big play in the game. Kendrick Law had a couple of catches. Malik Benson had a grab. C.J. Dupree, we didn't know if he was going to play or not until late in the week. He had a catch. They were catching it out of the backfield. They were doing a lot of different stuff in this game. I'll tell you, on defense, I thought obviously Deontay Lawson was all over the place. 12 tackles, 6 solo tackles. Campbell had 10 tackles and 6 solos. Downs had 8 solo tackles in the football game. Just the defense really stepped up in the second half of the football game and made such a big difference in this game as well. So, there's so many different things that you can look at with this game and go, you know what? I like this. I like this. I like this. It's the perfect way to end that tough part of the schedule where you go 8 straight weeks with football games. You play this rivalry game and you win the rivalry game 34-20 and you're down 20-7 at the half, right? Or was it? I mean, it's unbelievable. Like they pitched a shutout in the second half. Like, think about how good that defense was in the second half. Not only did the offense get going, but the defense did the same thing as well. So, I mean, a lot of different areas in this game that you can look back to and say, you know what? But I got to tell you too, Randy, you want to come on over here and talk to me for a second? I'm going to put Randy on. I mean, I think that Tennessee's come a long way with Josh Heupel too. I mean, this is a different Tennessee team than some of the other wins. But your thoughts on the game?
Well, I think it was a different Tennessee team in the second half than in the first half.
Well, obviously, right?
And a different Tennessee team than we saw last year. I I think that Alabama had a different team in the second half than they had in the first half, of 27-0 in the second half. I mean, the mood changed around here.
Well, you're watching Milton make all those plays, and you're like, man, he hasn't done this all season.
And we were not making plays.
But part of it was because it wasn't that Alabama was out of position. It was that they just made good plays.
Yeah, they did. They looked great. And I don't know if they had a penalty in the first half. They executed exceptionally well. They kept the crowd quiet. And that 2-play drive to open the second half, I think, got the crowd in the game for the rest. Saban talked about that in his press conference about how the crowd made a difference.
What cigar did Saban have? I saw him hand the cigar. What cigar was that?
That was a Casa de la Estrellas. That is the Starner family crest cigar.
Oh, nice.
Reagan designed that cigar at the Rocky Patel factory in Honduras in 2014 as an homage to the Starner family. So
you're his dad, so it's kind of like,
that's right.
The family crest on there too.
Yes, that's right. And it's the House of the Stars. And so Reagan had a sideline pass for the game tonight. He didn't get on TV like he did a few years ago, but he did talk to Jenny Dell, the CBS sideline reporter, and he gave her one of his signature cigars, one of the most popular cigars for the Tennessee week, because this year's edition honored Luke Ratliff.
Oh, yeah.
Alabama super fan. Yes.
Yeah, Fluffopotamus.
And so the boxes are printed with Luke's name on the box.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so we had just an incredible number of people coming in to show support for that cigar and for Luke and Luke's family. And so it was pretty exciting to see. And Jenny told Reagan that late in the first half, she said, if Alabama wins, I'm going to give this cigar to Coach Saban after the game.
So she knew, huh?
Yes. And so,
we didn't know if he was going to get a cigar there for a minute.
It's like, well, that's nice. It's not looking really good at the moment.
Yeah.
But the beauty is the camera caught that cigar. Sometimes when you're a cigar person like we are and they smoke a cigar in a movie, we stop the movie to look at the band to see what they're smoking.
You want to know, right?
We want to know.
Yeah. Well, last year, I'll tell you this. Last year, my buddy Tyler Ivins, who's a Tennessee guy, he said that Heupel had his favorite cigar, and you saw it today. Yes. And he said that's what he always smokes. And when they saw Heupel with that cigar, they sold out of 14 boxes within a day, which is crazy, right?
That's great. Yeah, we will
Smokies.
Never...
We should do like a Smokies versus the Cigar Mansion matchup sometime.
I'm sure that'd be fun. But we're not likely to get. I mean, I thought
Knoxville's shop, right?
Coach Saban was a great sport about it. He put the cigar in his mouth. I mean, he said he chews on them. He does chew on them. He doesn't smoke them. But he said some really kind words about the cigar tradition this week. And I thought he accepted the cigar with real grace, put it in his mouth.
Yeah, it was cool.
And so that was awesome. And that picture of the Casa Estrellas band will, I'm sure, be on R&R's social media.
You got to put that up there. Who's this and where you come from?
Hey, Mick, it's Iceman.
Iceman, you're hanging with Randy and Mick. We're at the Cigar Mansion right now, man. Do you got your cigar? Do you got your cigar going?
I'm going to be on the way after this phone call to go grab one. All my cigars are up with the in-laws. So.
Oh, no. Well, I hope you're in Tuscaloosa because we still have a few.
I'm currently watching some of the other games right now, and I got to say, and I'm a Bama fan through and through, but Florida State's pregame thing where they throw that flaming spear into the field, that's pretty cool. That's kind of cool. I really wish that we could have Nick Saban ride on an elephant for our pregame show.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I say we all just put in a vote right now and just say, all in favor say aye. And,
aye.
Aye.
What'd you think of the game, man?
But I am really happy the way that they responded and made the adjustments that they needed to make. It was kind of funny because I was kind of on the phone during halftime making a case for Milroe and why Milroe is the guy to move forward with this team and to win whatever games we need to win. And my brother is like, Milroe is just awful. He's terrible. You know, he's just not the guy. And that first drive, within a couple of plays, Milroe kind of proves me right with that beautiful pass to Isaiah Bond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
his deep ball
really
is
happy that
slick.
Yeah. Hey, Iceman,
Yeah, I really like that Milroe really likes to just prove people wrong and give them enough to doubt them again and then proves them wrong again. It's actually really entertaining to watch. And I got to say, for the first time, it's actually been really entertaining to watch Alabama football, even though it's been stressful.
It's stressful.
It's been entertaining.
Hey, I don't know how many comments on here were like going into the half. We were pretty concerned, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie and say that I was Jalen Milroe's biggest fan at halftime.
I didn't think it was his fault.
I didn't think it was his fault.
I thought like,
I wasn't his biggest fan.
Yeah, I'm looking at it too, going, man. If that's the Joe Milton, where's this guy been? And I'll say it for Tennessee, like at least you saw for a half what the guy can do. I mean, you know, he had a hell of a first half.
Yeah, he did.
You can't take that away from him.
Yeah, I thought maybe they put Hendon Hooker in with his jersey or something.
That first touchdown, I was like, these guys are catching everything today.
Yeah, that was awesome for them.
I was about to say, like, did they just put Hendon Hooker in there? Like, what the heck was going on?
Man.
Like, I thought we were playing against Joe Milton. But you know what, though? If I were to give my MVPs right now, I'd have to give it to Isaiah Bond.
Yeah.
That play where he knocked out number 5 in the first half, I really think set the tone for Alabama. And then defensively, who was it? John Campbell that got the touchdown?
Yes.
Criswell.
Yeah, you got to give it to him.
That caused the fumble.
Until he proves me wrong,
Yeah,
Will Riker's always going to be a special teams.
Will Reichard's, I mean, like, I know we already had him money, but this guy's like, he's automatic.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you come in, the guy kicks, he kicks automatic. He slipped that one field goal in.
It kissed the bar.
Oh, it was like, like, wow. Yeah. Yeah, great job, babe.
So,
I'm going to miss him when he graduates.
Yes, we are. Well, you'll
so
get to
who
watch
was that
him on
guy
Sunday.
that called in last year? Peanut?
And what'd he say?
Was his name Peanut?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Tennessee fan?
You know what? I'm so glad, Iceman, that you remembered that. We got pranked by Peanut, Tennessee fan. And you know what? I would have never, ever remembered Peanut's name if it wasn't for you, Ice. You're right, man. Hey, Peanut, this is for you.
Hey.
Well, hold on. Let's give Peanut one of these. That's for you, Peanut. Yeah, Peanut pranked us.
Oh, no.
A Tennessee fan named Peanut. Where's Peanut now? Where you at now, Peanut?
Yeah.
Peanut only comes
man.
out once out of every 17 years. He's
Well,
like one of those locusts.
Yeah.
The Jeepers Creepers guy, right?
He's where I was.
Ice,
a
I
year
can't
ago.
even believe you remember that, man. That wasn't even on this channel. It was a different channel. The Peanut.
Well, since it's a rivalry game, I'll give a little bit of history of when I started listening to you guys. That way you know. When I started listening to y'all, it was the 2019 LSU game. And I never forget that because I just wanted to – I asked myself, what the heck happened to Alabama's defense? So I tuned in to, I don't know if you were doing the show with Kyle Henderson that night.
I saw Kyle was here last night, by the way.
Kyle was here last night.
And for those guys, I want to say this too. I love Kyle.
Yeah.
I don't work with Kyle, but I love him. Yeah. Like, there's nothing but respect for Kyle. We're cool. This is a business. Things kind of happen when you don't get the team up, but I'm still friends with him. Like, I still like Kyle. And we did do the show together back then.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that you two were doing the show together that night or something. And that's when I was listening, and that's when I started listening to you guys.
That's so
constantly,
funny.
I started tuning in to call-in show. And
these are the best fans.
I never had the chance to call in.
Yeah.
I was always on watch. I was in the Navy at the time, just busy all the time. So now that I'm out of the Navy, I have more time than I thought that I could just to call in and just say roll tide to you guys.
But thanks for your service.
Yeah, thanks for your service, man. This puff right here is for the Navy, man.
For the Navy.
Yeah.
Iceman. We have Iceman on the
Iceman.
Yeah, appreciate your support.
Hey, Ice, do you remember when I used to play the Ed Orgeron clip all the time when he was at they beat Alabama and he kept saying, our house. You know, do you remember that? I played that over and over. I got to get that clip and play it this coming 2 weeks, you know, even though he's not the coach anymore.
Oh, yeah, you should.
They could use him as a defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Hey, I love him as the spokesman for those shirts. Have you seen him on those commercials?
Not yet.
I forget what the brand is, but he's on the commercial for the brand. He's like in the back. He's in the background, you know, buy these shirts, and it's great. You know, like he's coaching people at work to buy these shirts.
Oh, speaking of shirts, have y'all got those make Miss Terry make Saban angry again shirts from
I've seen them.
Matt Mitchell?
I've seen him on the street. I'm
for it.
I have got to get me one of those because I saw him yelling on the sideline, and I think that he might have done that in the locker room earlier.
You think?
And that's probably why we won the game.
Yeah, man. When Saban hangs it up, we're gonna miss the hell out of that guy
for sure.
Saban Field?
Oh man, Saban drives everywhere. We've got Brian all over the place. We're going to have Saban all over the place too. And he deserves it. And I don't want that to happen now, but I'm just saying, like, it's a different world in college football. It's a lot harder now. You know, with NIL and transfer portal and dealing with parents and middlemen. And, Chris Lowe telling me, on and off the air, how Saban doesn't really like the direction of the game and what's going on. And I get that. But he's still able to get the best out of these guys.
They're 6-1 and
7-1
in total control of their destiny.
7-1, yeah, 7-1.
And Saban is coaching at a high level, and I love the assistant coaches. I love Kevin Steele especially.
Yeah,
but
great fit.
But their resumes are not as strong as they're not as strong as the guys that they replaced.
Yeah, right. But that's part of this.
Yes, it is part of it.
And that's one of the things that Chris and I talked about too. He said Saban, when he gets these new coaches, he's got to go in and coach the coaches.
Yes.
Not that they don't know what they're doing, but the way that he wants things done.
Yeah.
And it takes a while to kind of get to that point. But you're seeing Tommy Rees like kind of turn. I mean, think about Tommy Rees game 1, game 2, game 3, and then what we've seen the last couple weeks. And Kevin Steele, once they got the communication thing figured out against Texas, the defense has been a beast.
They really have.
Yeah, I really don't even think that the Texas game was even all on the defense, though. I mean, I think the offense really wasn't helping the defense at all, and that's why they scored so much. So I don't even want to look at the Texas game as a blemish on the defense. But another hire that I actually kind of want to bring up because I just remembered this is Quentin Dix. He's on the coaching staff, isn't he?
Great guy. Great guy to have around.
Oh, yeah.
And I've heard from – I don't know him, but I've heard from guys that played with him and that are around him that think that he's got the potential to be big time in the coaching world. Ryan's, the head coach of the Texans now, somebody that just gets it, who went through the Saban process and is able to teach that to these guys, man. It's hard to get through to people. Now you're dealing with guys that are making money.
Yeah.
If you're making a lot of money and you're worried about the NFL and you don't want to return punts, you're going to get out of the way.
Yeah, I heard a really smart person say that leadership is getting people who don't have to obey you to follow you.
Right.
And I feel like we've seen in the current generation, we've seen where coaches have to lead. They can't dictate. They can't command like they used to.
Right.
And if you call yourself a leader, you have to look behind and see if there's any followers.
Yeah, right.
And I think Saban is obviously a great leader. It's not because people have to follow; it's because they want to follow.
Right.
And
do you guys feel like this, Iceman? You comment first, Randy. You second. Do you feel like I know Saban's the highest paid coach in football, and he's underpaid, right? But I don't think that this has ever been about money for him. I think he loves coaching young men. I think he loves teaching football and life to these guys.
I think that you can't divorce money from conversations. I mean, he did buy I don't know how many $1 million the house in Jupiter next to Just Thomas cost.
He's got a new neighbor. Guy golfs a little bit.
Yeah, but I think money is important, and I'm sure he has a really good agent. And
he does. Yeah, he does. We know that he does.
And I think sometimes you can tell people that when they get paid enough money, when they get paid the big paycheck, and their performance isn't as good as when they were building up to that big paycheck, then you kind of know that it's more about the money.
Right.
And so like somebody who did it for a little and then does it for a lot and does it really well both times.
Yeah.
Then you know that it's about their love of the concepts, their love of the game, their love of leadership, and their love of guiding young, impressionable football players and really getting the best out of them. So I'm a fan. I think so many people outside, Saban brings in a lot of people to speak to the team that are outside of football.
Oh yeah. Kobe Bryant came in.
Yes.
When he was alive.
That's right. But he knows that people can learn from people outside the game, and a lot of people outside the game could learn a lot from Nick Saban.
Yeah. I think, Mike Johnson said he's had success in life, and he doesn't know if he'd have the same success if it wouldn't have been for Nick Saban. And I think that's a huge compliment to the guy. Ice, you still there?
Yeah. I was about to tune in. I was just going to say about Nick Saban and how long he's been here. It's actually really crazy to think that he's been here so long now. And you look at some of the coaches like Tommy Bowden and or Bobby Bowden and Joe Pa with Penn State. And Joe Pa really kind of fell off towards the end of his career, didn't he?
Yes.
He did. And you're not really seeing that with Saban. Like, yeah, there's a couple of moments where it's like a little blemish here and there where he loses some games, but you got to really, really credit Saban for holding strong for this long. And how many times the game has changed on him. Right now, we're in the NIL era, and you got Mike Norvell and Coach Prime actually kind of thriving a little bit off of NIL.
Right.
I think Colorado, they have their ups and downs, but Oregon is a really good team, and you can't fault them for losing to Oregon. But you got to credit Saban to his ability to adapt as well. He's adapted every time they throw a curveball at him, and it's amazing to see. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season and however many years we have with him. And, I know that it's coming eventually when he does retire, and maybe we can have those conversations on the phone and a call-in show, like who's going to be the replacement.
Yeah.
But I think for now, let's enjoy the fact that we have Saban, and it's amazing. Thank God for Saban.
Yeah, thank God for Saban.
I want to leave on this note. What's your favorite Halloween movie? I'm going to give you mine. I'm going to hang up, and I'm going to call in, I'll listen to the show. And, yeah. So my favorite Halloween movie, I've always been a big Chucky guy. I've always liked the Chucky movies. So,
yeah.
All right, roll Tide.
Roll Tide, man. Thank you, Iceman. Randy, if you got to go back to work, don't let me hold you back.
Yeah, I think I'm needed.
Yeah.
We're
you getting crowded in here? Well, I'm going back to the phone lines and we'll talk, but come back over when you can.
Tell all your listeners and watchers hi from the Cigar Mansion. Come see us whenever they're in Tuscaloosa.
I will, man. The Cigar Mansion is rocking right now. All right, let's go back to the phone line again and talk more about this game. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, this is Phil from San Francisco, California.
No, it is not Phil from What is up, brother?
Hey, brother, just
Dude, what is up, man?
Weather's
Thank you. You know all about winning championships, man. You know all about when you got you. How many rings do you have?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, come on now. 3.
That's right, man. What is up, man? Great to see. Hey, are you smoking your cigar out on the West Coast?
Oh, I've got my Arturo Fuente, and I'm sitting on the back patio, enjoying it, listening to your show, and having a great time.
Well, what'd you think of the game? What did you think of the game, Phil?
The tale of two halves, and to be honest with you, this defense keeps showing up. First of all, what's the last Alabama team that has shown the grit that this team has?
I mean, they do, man.
I mean, backs against the wall, and I have to admit, there was a point in this game when we were down, and I was like, oh, this could be a blowout. This could be a blowout.
I know. I felt it too.
Things started going our way, and the interception, and you're like, oh, it may not be our day. And the way that they showed up in the second half, the adjustments that were made, and again, the defense keeps the offense in it, and the offense all of a sudden does things. And Tommy, as much as I get frustrated with him, he dials it up, and you're like, oh my God. And same thing with Jalen. Jalen, like, just when you want to get frustrated with him, he does some miraculous things. And here we are smoking cigars.
Well, you and I were in school. We didn't smoke cigars, did we? We didn't smoke cigars. We didn't beat these guys. And people and you get this, Phil, and I want you to talk about this. And Phil works with the Golden State Warriors and, went to school at Alabama, huge Alabama fan out there. Phil, Alabama fans didn't believe this was a rivalry, some of them, because 15 straight years of winning, and it does that. And now Tennessee's like getting better, and they're a threat, man. I mean, they're recruiting. Josh Heupel's a good coach. They play good football. This was I know it was they covered the spread and everything, but man, this was a good win today. And I'm enjoying this. Like, just like you are.
Yeah. And it's funny because yes, we get, and it's crazy. I hate to say it. Yes, we get used to winning in this, with this dynasty. And we have a little bit of a flip on the radar, and everyone's like, the dynasty is over, but then it's not. But then you get into a season like this, and there's this adversity, and then there's the Texas game, and then we go into A&M, and it's like, okay, are we going to win this? Oh, and then we again, second half, defense, and you're like, all right. And then we come out in the Arkansas game, and we're blowing the doors off in the first half, and then the second half happens. You're like, okay, this is the team that showed up this year. And then that rolled into the first half of this game. And then the second half happened. This team, this time, is so exciting. And it brings us back to, honestly, 08. And the excitement that we had when we weren't always winning.
Right.
And every game, we weren't sure if we were going to win. And yes, we're still favored pretty much every game. But we both know it's not like that. Yeah, we're favored every game because we're Crimson and we're the University of Alabama. But we know on paper, when you line it up, Tennessee's getting better. A&M's better. LSU's good. Like, all of them are good. And Saban's got to do a better job of adjustment. And his coordinators have to do a better job of adjustment. And that's exactly what they're doing. And look, no disrespect to the coaches we had, offense and defense coordinators in the last couple of years. They were nowhere near what we have right now.
Yes.
Like, my brother and I were just talking post-game, and we were talking about if we had Steele last year, this defense would have been, I mean, Will Anderson would have had like 50 sacks.
Yes.
But we didn't, and we do now.
Yep.
And he's doing the best of what he has with what he has, and it's pretty miraculous.
Yeah, that's a great point. That is a great point. Kevin Steele came in. He understood what Nick Saban wanted to do. He understands SEC defenses. And I was talking about this play, Phil. Alabama gave up the touchdown right at the end of the first half, and they put the all-out blitz, and Milton read it, and he threw a perfect ball. And as much as that stung, it was just nice seeing us saying, you know what, we're not sitting back and letting you guys do what you want to do. We're coming at you. And I think that even though that play didn't work out the way that they wanted it to, it set the tone for the second half that we're coming.
Yep. Well, and look, let's be honest. Both touchdown passes were great plays.
Mm-hmm.
The one you just mentioned was a great play by Milton. The first one was a great play by him, as well as the receiver. I mean, that was one of the best catches I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But outside of that, we really shut him down.
Yeah. Well, the second half was just Bama football at its best. And honestly, Heupel going for it on fourth down, it was just such a stupid play. You know, it was like, look, you got a good defense. Like, make Alabama go the length of the field. Twice they went. Twice they didn't get it. But the second time to me was the one that Alabama had the momentum anyway. But to go for it there, and then you're just going to run the ball? Like, come on, man. Like, you got to have a better play ready to go in that spot. But part of it is that Alabama's defense was just ready. Those guys wanted them to go for it.
You know, I don't know why, and good, keep doing it. But these coaches, I mean, they did it. The Ole Miss game, they were doing it again. People keep trying to go for it on fourth down against us. Okay, you get a couple, but you know what? For the most part, we're stopping you. This defense is nasty. We're bringing it, and we're there, and we're stopping you. So, okay, I'm to the point where I'm confident. You're going for it. All right, buckle up. Here we go.
Yeah. What was your who were your players of the game?
Wow. You know, the entire defense, because every single player stepped up, covered holes, covered gaps. You know, Malachi's back this week was a big, big help. But then number 3 goes down and someone else steps up. So, and then on the offense, I mean, number two is just a workhorse.
Yeah.
But number 4 still shows up. He's got grit. So I honestly, this is a full team MVP to me.
Yeah, this was definitely a team win. The way that they came out and the first drive of the second half, and of all the issues that Milroe has as he progresses as a quarterback, as he gets better, as he learns. I mean, you know, like he doesn't read the blitzes all the time and stuff. We know what his issues are, but the guy's deep ball, it's as good as anybody. Like, and we've had a lot of guys that throw deep balls. You can't argue with his deep ball. I mean, like he's always a threat to bomb you. And the guys are catching the football. They didn't even catch the ball half as good last year for one of probably the best player we ever had. You know,
my God, that's what blows me away is we had one of the best quarterbacks of all time last year, and everyone had stone hands and dropped balls, ran bad routes. And this year, like, that's why I go back to if we coulda, shoulda, woulda with the two of the best players maybe we had to step on campus in Bryce and Will last year. But that was last year. And what they're doing with everything this year, everyone's starting to step up, and I love it. And it's fun. It's stressful. I've got a few more gray hairs from this team, but man, is it fun to watch.
Yeah, and I remember talking to the guy I used to work with, and he was like, it'd be great to have some close games. And I'm like, no. I don't need all this. Yeah, I want to blow out every week too. Like, I like it when we used to start these shows like in the fourth quarter because Alabama's ass whooping somebody. You know, it's just a different world now.
Yep.
It is such a different world.
You talk about MVPs. I got to give my brother Travis. My brother Travis always goes to the kicker. Years past, his favorite player is always a punter, a kicker. And let's talk about our boy Will, stud Will. They're confident. We can make the kick. He always does, and I love it.
Can you believe that we have the best kicker in the history of the SEC? The guy's got a chance to get more points than anybody else in the NCAA. He's going to have to kick some more field goals. I don't know how the numbers work out, but they had the picture on the screen during the game, and I remember Daniel Carlson with Auburn, and you're like, oh man, here comes this guy again. Like, it didn't matter. The guy's going to kick the field goal. we've had the opposite. It's always been great football teams and shitty kickers. Now we have like a weapon, man, a weapon at the kicker spot. So I'm with you on that.
It's a really nice safety factor to have because you've got that confidence. And I turned to my son as CBS kept like propping up Will and like he hasn't hit the kick this many in a row and he's so fired up from last to this. And I'm like, oh my God, it's gonna come down to a kick this year. It's gonna stress me out. I'm glad it didn't.
The announcer jinx, and if there's anyone that would like to jinx us, it's Gary Danielson, who honestly he didn't get on my nerves as bad as he normally does today. Like I've been on Gary on here, but today it wasn't that bad. I don't know. I guess just I don't know why. No. It just wasn't.
No, it wasn't as bad. But hey, it was a great day. I got to run. It's always such a pleasure to listen to you and the post game crew. I'm going to hang up and listen as I head out.
Hey, love you, brother. Thanks for calling in. And Roll Tide, tell Kiki Roll Tide and Trav and the entire group, man. And your daughter, who's, by the way, at school here now, which is really crazy.
That's right. She's drawing me back. I'll be back for LSU, so I'll see you soon.
All right, we'll see you in 2 weeks. All right, that's Mr. Ring out there, Phil Hastings, who's got 3 rings with Golden State. And but still a big Bama fan and on the show. I'm gonna see if I can get the Saban press conference so we can hear what Coach had to say. And I think I can pull this up and we can watch this because I want to know what his comments are. I think you guys do too. So let me see if I can get it. We put it on there last week, and I know all you guys are kind of in the same spot I'm in. You know, it's like we're talking about the game, but it's great to hear from the GOAT, right? So let me see if I can pull. As soon as I get it ready here, we'll put on Coach Saban and see what he has to say. I'll tell you what, I think this was one of the best ones for Alabama in this Tennessee rivalry. I know the score wasn't Rocky Block and it wasn't 2015. It came down to the end, but the way that the team played in the second half was awesome. You know, I loved it, and I think you guys loved it too. So we'll see what Coach had to say about it, and then I'm all about sticking around and talking with you guys and kind of. You know, I know he's got to be happy. I mean, I'm happy, you know, so I'm sure he's happy too. So we'll pull it up there. But another brilliant win for Alabama, and put Coach Saban up here. So here he comes.
I said, everybody here has got a choice. You got a choice to make. What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to do? Everybody's got to choose what they want. And we went out and scored in 2 plays in the second half and the first drive on offense and changed the momentum of the game and, you know, played really well from that time on. And, you know, Tennessee's got a really good team. And, you know, I'm really proud of our players for the way they competed in the game and came back and the way they took care of business in the second half. But, you know, we got a bye week coming up, so probably need to get a little rest for some of our guys. And, but, you know, we got more business to take care of in the future. But for right now, everybody should enjoy this. It's a great win for us. We had a great atmosphere in the stadium. Our fans were fantastic. They had a huge impact on the game in terms of the penalties at the end of the game and not allowing them to score. So I just can't tell you how pleased and proud I am with everybody in the organization who puts a lot into it so that we can, you know, have games like this, have atmospheres like this, and have the opportunity to compete like this for our players. So really, really proud of our team. And it was a great team win. I mean, you know, 27-0 in the second half was pretty good offense and really good defense.
That 4th down stop in I think it was the 3rd quarter, I guess good rushing offense. What was the key there? What were some of the points that you guys made to the defense?
Are you talking about the one in the second half? Yeah. Yeah, well, we had you know, they like to get in bunch. So, you know, we had a kind of a check defense to go to get in like a gap 8 with 2 double edges. and 4 spoke secondary to try to roll if they brought the ball to the perimeter. So the guys up front just knocked them back. I mean, and that was a huge stop in the game. Had 2 fourth down stops in the game. Were really huge.
Nick, you kind of hit on it in your opening statement, but why was it important for you to run over to the fans and thank them for their performance out there today?
Well, I know how much it means to, our fans, this game, the rivalry of this game, Tennessee, but I also wanted to thank them because of, what a great job they did, the impact that they had on the game, the atmosphere in the game. I think it kept the energy level up, for our team and kept the momentum rolling in the second half for us. So it was fantastic. And I wish I could thank each one of them personally.
Charlie, you mentioned the second half of the defense. Just what was maybe the biggest adjustment, if at all, that you guys made?
Yeah, well, in the beginning of the game, we were trying to play odd because we were really trying to stop the run. And, they hit the big pass. We were in odd, kind of didn't play the coverage exactly right, but for, the first touchdown. But, as the game went on, we started playing a little more even, started playing things that we, had played in the past. And I think the players did a really good job. It helped us rush the passer better. Players just did a good job of adapting. We got a better 4-man rush out of it and played, more of the kind of coverages that we normally play with 4-man rushing rather than 8 drops.
Coach, this team continues to find ways to win and battle back from adversity. What has it been like for you as a coach to kind of watch them go through this journey week to week?
Oh, I love it. It's been great. The challenges are great. I enjoy coaching this team. That's not to say that they're taking years off of my life, but I'm okay with that. It's fun because they've got a good spirit about them. We got good relationships on our team. I think the players legitimately care about each other, and they respond well to their coaches. So it's really fun to coach them. I don't think we sometimes show the maturity from a competitive standpoint to do everything on a consistent basis, which is what we keep trying to work toward. But I'll tell you, eight weeks in a row, and the grind that we've had the last 4 or 5 weeks, with the games in our league, I think psychologically we probably had a little bit of a tired team, out there at the beginning of the game. And I think the momentum of the game gave them the energy they needed to play the way they were capable of playing.
Coach, I know we've heard Jalen tell us that you guys are not a finished product. What does a win like this show for you from your team, especially the defense, the whole Tennessee scoreless in the second half there?
Well, it's great the way we played in the second half, but you could make an argument that we weren't a finished product in the first half, really on either side of the ball. So, but I do think the resiliency that the players sort of show, their ability to overcome adversity, them scoring like right at the end of the half, us having an opportunity to score and turning it over, and then they go down the field and they score right before the half. So it was a big swing. I mean, from a momentum standpoint. So it takes a lot of resiliency, a lot of perseverance from those players to bounce back from that, because it was a horrible way to end the first half. And they did a fantastic job of it. And I can't say enough about the competitive spirit that they have when they need to have it.
Chase right here.
Coach, Tennessee came into the game #1 in the league in rushing. Their lead back was 11 for 22 on the ground. How big a role did the run defense overall play in getting this win?
Oh, I think it was important. I mean, they still hurt us at times with the quarterback runs. Quarterback draws a couple times. They had a couple perimeter plays with the quarterback. And he's a good player. He's a big guy. He's fast. He's a very good athlete. And that creates another gap, for you to have to play, which was one of the reasons we wanted to play odd, so that we could play not only their runs, but his runs better. But we didn't feel like we were playing coverage the way we needed and getting the rush that we needed. So, they gained 230 yards rushing last week. I don't know what they gained today, but I know it wasn't that much. So it was a pretty good job.
We saw Terry and Arnold lead the game in the second half.
what was wrong with him? And then also, what did you see from Trey Amos replacing him?
Trey played well, played really well, made some really good plays, was very aggressive in coverage, had a couple pass breakups. On the sack fumble for a touchdown, if the guy would have thrown the ball, he double clutched it. I think Trey Amos was going to intercept it. It was right in front of me. And he double clutched it and pulled it back, and that's when Braz knocked out of his hand. So I thought he played really, really well. Terrion has a slight concussion, so we thought he didn't clear protocol. So the thing that you do is you don't play the guy, and that's for safety reasons, and hopefully in a few days he'll clear.
Coach, I want to ask you about your quarterback, and you talk about the point guard, but it seemed like he didn't take short runs, but then third quarter, fourth quarter, he took those runs. Is that what you like seeing out of him?
Yeah, I thought Jalen played really well in the game, especially in the second half. We missed a couple reads in the first half on the runs, the quarterback runs, but he did a much better job in the second half. I think you got to get a feel for how the guy's playing you. It's a little bit like if you are playing point guard and the guy's sloughing off, you shoot a three. If he's guarding you close, you drive around him. So, but when you're reading the defensive end on some of this stuff, I think you got to get a feel for it. And I think once that happened in the game, he did a really good job, and he made some really key runs. The one scramble for a first down was big. But the thing that we emphasize with them against these guys, because they have really good edge rushers, you got to step up in the pocket. On the touchdown pass, starting the second half, edge pressure, stepped up in the pocket and threw the ball, stepped up in the pocket on a couple of those runs. All right, so that was, and that's something that he used to do really well. So I thought he made some really key plays today.
To finish, Cody.
Talked about the adjustments that the defense made from first half, second. Were there similar adjustments that the offense made, or what do you think was the difference in the offensive execution?
No, I really think, offensively, the shot that we took was a planned play, the touchdown, start the second half. I don't think we ran a lot of different plays. I think we did a much better job of executing those plays. And, we had a couple others that if we just finished blocks would have been even more productive. So, but I thought Jason McClellan really ran hard in the game. The guy's been beat up a little bit, but he's one of the toughest guys on our team, and certainly a great competitor the way he competed out there tonight.
How has Jahad Campbell continued to find a role for himself in the defense, and any update on Tresman Marshall?
Tresman Marshall has bruised ribs, and he didn't. I always ask the player, you think you could play, and even though he was able to practice a little bit in a black jersey, which means nobody can hit you, so he can move around decent enough, but every time he'd bump somebody, it was a problem. So hopefully, in 2 weeks he'll be okay. But he's been a really good competitor for us, and those three guys have rotated. 32's missed games, 17's missed games, 30 takes whoever's missing, he takes their place, because 32 plays both spots. He plays Mike and Money. So Tresman usually plays Mike, and he plays Will, but he played Mike tonight, and 30 played Will. All right.
All right, there's Coach Saban talking about the win today, Alabama. With the win, as we hang out at R&R Cigars here in Tuscaloosa, smoking our victory cigars after what was, I think, a great win for Alabama. 34-20, Alabama dominated the second half. Tennessee dominated the first half, but Alabama was able to kind of up their game in that second half, and they go on to win this football game. All you guys in the comments section, thank you so much. I love seeing what everyone's in there and what you guys have to say. And I think the bottom line is Bama's 7-1 now. going into the off week. They're going to get an opportunity to heal up. It doesn't sound like there's any significant injuries. Hey, he said like slight concussion. You sit out, and now 2 weeks off, and we'll see what happens there. But the defense this year, one of the biggest things about this team and their personality is that when the defense has a guy go down, that the next guy steps up. And an unsung hero on this team's Chris Braswell. What a beast he's been. So many big plays. He's all over the place, making tackles, forcing fumbles, and huge point in the game changed on the sack, fumble, and then touchdown. And that was the point of the game where I felt like Alabama really turned the corner and kind of put this thing on ice, if you will, and kind of put it out of reach. It didn't have to be that interesting at the end of the game. If they field the punt, you catch the play, get a fair catch the ball, down the ball, I don't know, on the 30. I don't even think we're not having any excitement at the end. But at the end of the day, when Alabama had to make big plays, they did that. And it was great. It was great. And this is, you got one of them back from last year. Now you got LSU next after a week off. I'm ready for a week off. I know the football team's ready for a week off. We're going to enjoy this one here at R&R. But then, you know what? You turn around and you got another rivalry game, and the schedule's still tough. You got to go to Kentucky. You got Chattanooga, and then you got to go down to Auburn. And I just hope that the thing that you want to see these guys do is just continue to get better at the line of scrimmage on the offensive side of the ball. I thought the defensive side of the ball, again, took care of business, but the offense stepped up too. And it takes, in this day and age of football, you're not going to win games like we used to. You're not going to win, 17-10. The Gene Stalling days. I mean, you're going to have to go out there, and you're going to have to score points, and you're going to have to stop them. And this defense does bring back memories of some of the great defenses that Alabama's had, from yesteryear. But at the same time, the ability of the offense to move the football and score, it's different this year. It's running the ball. It's not turning it over. The turnovers kill you. But the turnover that they had, I mean, I know that Tennessee took it down and scored a touchdown at the end of the half. But it's not like they turned it over at the 1 yard line either. Tennessee earned that touchdown. And I think that's all you really want to do. You don't want to give the opposition short fields. And we're talking about Tennessee going for it on fourth down and giving Alabama short fields. I don't think that would have been my strategy in this game. I think I would have wanted Alabama, when you had them on their heels, to try to stay back on their heels. And obviously, the defense made the big plays, and then the offense kind of jumped in and owned the second half. And I mean, it was great seeing that offense. And last week we saw a very similar football game, where it was like the first half they dominated, and then the second half they didn't. This team still hasn't put together that full 4 quarters of great football yet. But I know that the ability to do it is there. And it's going to be interesting to see what this team does when they do put it all together. But look, they're 7-1. Let's go back to the phone lines again, guys. So we talked to you from R&R Cigar. Who's this, and where you calling from?
Nick, what's up? Chad Anderson.
Oh, Chad, not here in person, but here in spirit, my friend. How you doing?
Buddy, I'm a lot better than I was about 3 hours and 20 minutes ago.
What was the atmosphere?
That was awful.
Oh, it was awful. It was awful.
I got simply, this may sound a little harsh, but I would say as was, should have been, with what Nick Saban said tonight. I actually thought the crowd was a little uneasy and tense and kind of flat at the beginning. And when Tennessee went out through the first haymaker, I got really worried because they came out and delivered the first punch, converted it a third down or two on that drive. But once Alabama did have some momentum opportunities, the crowd was into it, especially in the second half. I've been to a lot of games, and part of this was the timing, but the Dixieland delight immediately after the fumble, scoop, and score for 6. That was a Dixieland delight I haven't heard before, Mick. That was next level, screaming, yelling, intense. Obviously, much better second half, but it was a great atmosphere there at the end.
What do you think about Tennessee kind of trying to take Dixieland Delight and make that their song? Isn't that funny?
Yeah, I mean, they do. It does say on a Tennessee Saturday night to be point blank with it. I don't know what the song was actually intended for. Am I on the radio or on YouTube?
You're on YouTube. Say what you want.
I'm on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I don't really give a shit. Like, who gives a shit? What does it matter? Like, it's a song, and who was it? The Phillies. The Philadelphia Phillies did it in their locker room during the postseason. Tennessee Vols fans sing to Dixieland Delight. Like, who gives a shit? It's just whatever gets the crowd going. That's all that matters. And Alabama fans love the hell out of it. It's a staple at every home game.
Yeah, this is my favorite rivalry. And I hope that the SEC – I can't imagine a world that they take this away. Reagan, who's at R&R, he owns him and his dad own it. He's afraid that that this might be, one of the last where they play every year. I just can't see that. Chris Lowe, he thinks it's staying. A lot of people in Tennessee think it's staying. People down here, I think we're not really sure as much as they are. I think they've kind of got their 3 teams. If they go to the 9 schedule with 3 regular opponents, and this would be one for them. The problem is Alabama would have Alabama, Auburn, and LSU. And you know what? You got to have that. There's got to be that drop-off team like Mississippi State. Like, let's not get rid of that rivalry, But I don't care as much about LSU, but the Tennessee and Auburn game, to me, are the 2 biggest. And this was the 106th time that these teams have played. I mean, that's crazy when you think about it. How many years? Because it's a once a year thing. It's not like these teams are playing in the SEC championship game, which could happen, but that's not what it is. I mean, it's every year it's around the 3rd Saturday in October. Did you get a cigar? Did you? Because I'm smoking one right now. I'm down to a nub, but did you get your victory cigar?
I did. I enjoyed it in the south end zone. The final 2 minutes, there was Mick. It's a non-smoking facility, but there was a little bit of a haze in the south end zone tonight.
We saw that. Haze. There's a haze here in R&R right now.
Yeah, I believe it.
The first half was nerve-wracking. It was nerve-wracking. It really was.
Yeah, it was not good because Alabama couldn't do anything. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't run block. They only had 130 yards at halftime. I think of that, what was it, about 20 of the 130 were on the ground, something like that, 20 to 30.
Yeah.
It wasn't good. But you saw in that second half, all it took was one running play where you gash them. And then all of a sudden the deep ball is there.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the key, and Milroe on that deep pass, on that touchdown to begin the 3rd quarter, a lot of credit to him too, because he stepped up into the pocket, and instead of looking to run, he stepped up, took 1 step to the right, hit Bond perfectly going into the end zone. And that's how dangerous. I was texting a buddy after the game. I said, it's just incredible. This team still hasn't put 4 quarters together, which is frustrating but also encouraging. But you watch this team, it's like, how can you be so bad in the first half, yet look like a national championship team in the second half? And I'll also say, one thing we haven't talked about really in the last few weeks that needs a lot of praise, how good are Alabama's coaches this year at making second half adjustments?
Yeah.
It's been remarkable how good they are in the second half this year.
No, I'm with you. Bama Charlie is he put this comment up, Chad, and I'm going to read it. And we've had a lot of great comments on the show. Tennessee fans don't cry about officiating. This game was payback for terrible officiating up there last year. Those refs up there were much worse than today. They didn't have I'm not one of these guys that blames officiating, but that game last year was an abomination of officiating. There were some calls that did not go their way today. There was a holding that I'm still wondering what was going on, but nothing compares to what we saw last year. The interception that they took, the guys in the corner of the end zone, and the flag comes flying in. Kool-Aid's like 30 yards down. If it's not even his play, you hate that officiating is a part of it. I don't think that it would have made that much of a difference today. Tennessee lost because their quarterback got sacked and he fumbled the ball and we scored a touchdown. And they didn't score any in the second half.
Hey, Mick, look, buddy, Clay Travis and Teresa Walker with Associated Press and some of these other people who were tweeting during the game about officiating, they can all get gout, man. Like last year, like you said, 17 penalties against Alabama. And I'm not saying some weren't justified, but when these people on Twitter or X are talking about how bad the officiating is, I looked up at the board. There were 5 penalties at the time against Tennessee. 3 of those penalties, Mick, were pre-snap penalties. The other 2 were 2 holding penalties. So it wasn't even any kind of like crazy lopsided. Like a pre-snap penalty is not questionable. Like when you look at Alabama's Texas A&M game and you go, 14 penalties against Alabama that got screwed. Well, no, because 9 were pre-snap. Like a pre-snap penalty is not a judgment call penalty. That's just a penalty. It is what it is. And for everybody to whine and cry, the hold they called against Tennessee with Jermaine Burton, that allowed Alabama to continue a drive that resulted in field goal. But where was the personal foul potential targeting ejection on Tennessee throwing a UFC AJ Styles phenomenal forearm to the head of Roydell Williams while he's laying on the ground? That if it's called a penalty, which it should have been, then that continues that drive and Alabama doesn't, only kick a field goal. So there were a couple of key calls, but it was one each way. And the idea or the concept that penalties went against Tennessee and that screwed them in today's law, that is typical Tennessee fan for the previous 15 years from 07 through 21. They just got their ass kicked in the second half.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Kimberly, good to see you and all you guys that have found us here on the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. If you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel and be part of it. And I know there's other channels out there that do great work too. We're just one of them. And, we just hope that you guys will continue to keep us in your thoughts when you're thinking about Alabama. All right, I'm going to throw a couple stats at you, Chad. Nick Saban's now 18-2 against Tennessee. Bama is now, I got to update this so I can put the banner up, is now 60-38-8 against the Volunteers. And this is the one that is really, this is the one that's going to blow your mind. There's 16 of the last 17 cigar game winners. roll Tide.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And you talk about the rivalry game. To me, Auburn's like the annoying little brother that you're required to play every year because mom said so. And then you go and play them, and then they beat you every now and then, and then their whole world is made. But Tennessee is the team you just hate. Like, Tennessee's that team across town that you don't like anything about them.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's where I am with it as well. Like, Auburn is more annoying. Tennessee, I hate.
Do you hate the color orange? Do you hate that color orange? I saw people. I went to the KA house, had an alumni thing. I went there today, and they did a great job. And everybody had these stickers that had the guy that said he hated the color orange. You know, that the famous video that we watch all the time. Terry, roll tide right back at you, brother. That's how you feel. They're low down, right? You feel like that. If they didn't talk so much, they talked so much shit last year. Like, they just, and I know they were happy, and they should be. I mean, they beat a great Alabama team last year. Not a national championship team because of them, because they beat them, but 16 out of 17. Tennessee's come a long way, though. As much as you don't like them, you got to admit, man, they're a tough game again.
Oh,
they're a tough game again. This isn't This isn't Butch Jones.
Just because I don't like them doesn't mean, it's not that we're disrespecting them. We just don't like them. Like, they're now a good program again. Like, what do you think they end this year? 9-3, because they're probably not going to beat Georgia.
Yeah, look, I'm gonna be a Tennessee fan the rest of the season.
You want your style point.
That's right.
Yeah, they're going to be 9-3. Yeah, they're 9-3. But they are. Like, today's game wasn't easy, and Alabama had to fight their ass off in the second half to come back and win that game. They're not Butch Jones anymore. They're not Jeremy Pruitt. They're not Derek Dooley. They're a legit, difficult game on the schedule again.
Yep. All right. I'm going to put this one up here. It's a question from Ice. He wants to know where do we think that Bama's ranked now? And so I'm going to say this. I think that, Robert called in last week. He called in today. He called in last week. He made a point I thought was a good point. He was like, I think that, we need to win some games, and style points matters a lot. There's other one-loss teams that are ahead of Alabama now. Texas is ahead of Alabama with one loss. Oregon's ahead of Alabama with one loss. There's somebody else in there too. And Alabama's got to, but this was the type of win that even the writers, because the coaches poll has Alabama moving up. The writers have kept Alabama at 11. I think they're going up in the polls this week. I think this was a game where everybody was watching. I think you see what Alabama's all about. They beat a good Tennessee team. They proved themselves against a ranked opponent. It wasn't perfect, but no one's perfect right now. Penn State is the Penn State I told you they were. And so all of a sudden now you're starting to think like Bama's dangerous. I think Bama's going to be. I think they could be. It just depends on how things shake out, but maybe 8, maybe 7. I don't know. But they're going up in the polls, and the writers are going to have to move them up. And their strength of schedule, Chad, you were telling me this today. The strength of schedule that Alabama played, it's a tough schedule. So talk about that. Where do you think Alabama is going to be ranked?
Well, Penn State will fall behind Alabama. The problem with today's win, Nick, is you can spin it however you want, right? You can say Alabama, beats Tennessee by a strong second half, but still unanswered questions, or you could flip it and say like Bama's inconsistent and they still beat Tennessee by 2 touchdowns. So it's kind of whatever tone you want it to be. You know what I mean? So in my opinion, if you look, Penn State should fall behind Bama. I look, who has Oregon beat? I go back to Oregon. I'm like, who have they beaten? I know they won today. I know they played Washington really, really close. But if you're going off of like comparing one-loss teams, I think Bama should stay behind Texas, even though Texas really struggled today on the road against Houston. I think, as Oregon, I'm driving, but as Oregon, I don't think they beat anybody important. right? Like,
Well, they had to win at Texas Tech. I mean, it's Texas Tech, but it's a tough win on the road. I don't know. They've got games ahead though too. Like they've got games in their, in their conferences. But you're right.
It'll
Like
work itself out.
right.
But I think Bama should be ahead of them. So I would say Bama's 8 or 9, assuming there's no other like catastrophic loss in the top 10 tonight. Like North Carolina should beat Virginia. Washington should win. Florida State was losing to Duke last I saw.
Duke's good.
Ohio State will stay up there. Michigan, Georgia. Yeah, Duke is good.
Duke's good. This isn't normal Duke.
Loses to them. No, it's not. It's not basketball Duke. But I'm saying if Florida State loses to them, that would potentially move them down below Bama, like give Bama another bump. So I would say Bama's going to be 9 on Monday, maybe 8, depending on what happens with the other games. But I would say 9. And again, everything will be in front of Bama. They'll have LSU and Georgia still on the schedule before the playoff committee.
Okay. Well, let me throw this up here too. R&R Cigars, promo code Bama Tailgate, 20% off and free shipping. So don't forget that. That's the discount code that Reagan gave us. And so you guys take advantage of it. If you want to get some victory cigars from the Cigar Mansion here in Tuscaloosa, from wherever you might be hanging out today, take advantage of that. And I'm telling you, man, I had a great time here. I mean, I spent the night here last night. I mean, like I'm living at the Cigar Mansion right now. So just to let everybody know that, like I said, I wasn't leaving until Alabama beat Tennessee. So now I can go home. Oh, yeah, I was going to stay another night here. Reagan was on the sideline. That's why he's not here. Is he here?
Well, the big question is, did Reagan do alcohol inventory between last night and this morning?
I don't know. I mean, I have. Apparently he's back. So I mean, maybe he'll jump on because we've been on for an hour and 40 minutes. So we're definitely in overtime right now. There's Corey just walked by. Look, man, what a great day, man. This is what this is kind of what when you love Alabama, these are the games that you remember forever, like where you were when things happened, us hanging out, tailgating and everything. And Cheryl and seeing her and everything, and then hanging out over here. What a great day. Any final thoughts?
Yeah. The bad is that Alabama, unfortunately, can still look bad. But the good is this team still hasn't played a complete game. Not yet. And they're 7-1. They got a bye. The LSU game basically determines the West. Bama beats LSU. They're going to clinch the West. I'd have to actually look at that, but I think that would be the case. Maybe Ole Miss still would have an outside shot, but I think if you're a Bama fan, the bad quarters and the bad halves can be really, really scary and unsettling. But at the same time, this team shows that they have the ability to really turn it on and beat anyone at any time. So still a ton of development to go. Bye week couldn't get here at a better time. 4 more games before the postseason. And it's crazy to think, as annoyed sometimes as the fan base is with this team, where this team is going into the final month of the season.
All right. Well, we got to do our game balls. Offense, defense. Obviously, you know who's going to win it on special teams, but give out your game balls. Give out your game balls.
I think Jace McClellan. Once he got bottled up here and there. But second half, I think he officially got over 100 yards this game.
27 carries, 115 yards. Yep.
Yeah, he got a touchdown. The go-ahead touchdown. Broke off a big run to set up the big deep ball to start the second half. And he just kept grinding and pounding, man. It was a lot of tough sledding. So Jace McClellan on offense for me.
Okay. And look, I would have given it to him. You gave him one. I got to figure out between Milroe and Bond. I'm going to give it to Milroe. I mean, I know it wasn't perfect, but 14 to 21, 220 yards. The running to me, I still don't think he's 100% with the wheels, but he gritted it out today, and he led the team. And he led the team to a win. And I mean, you got these are the games that you remember for the rest of your life. On the podcast I'm on with Jake Coker, we talk about, one of his best moments was after the game. He said, I went hunting and I'm just in the woods and I'm by myself and I'm thinking about what this meant, as a guy that grew up an Alabama fan and just winning this rivalry game. And I think Milroe gets my game ball. How about defense? Let me go first on defense since you went first on offense.
Go ahead.
There's so many guys. I mean, Deontay Lawson was all over the field. But Chris Braswell, man, he is a football player's football player. You going to jump on? Chris Braswell is my defensive player of the game. How about you?
Yeah, Braswell, the fact that a 255-pound linebacker can run 21.5 miles per hour is nuts.
Let's go. R&R Cigars, official victory.
I'm going to go with Lawson. I think Lawson deserves it on my side.
Chad, here's Reagan.
And we all just entertain us.
Who's your offensive and defensive MVPs? Who gets your victory cigars?
Jenny Dell from CBS, who
handed Saban. I saw that.
Gave Nick Saban an R&R Cigar victory cigar. Jenny Dell, you are the hero of the night. You are the hero.
Yeah.
You are my favorite person besides my wife and my employees and my family and Mick.
Thanks.
Well, no, I like her more than you.
Right now, I would too.
Yeah.
Much better looking.
And Nick Saban, thank you for having an R&R cigars. It's you know which one it is? It's the one that I made for Luke.
Yeah.
So Luke was there tonight with the victory cigar. It was his favorite cigar, and that's what Nick Saban had tonight. I'm going to be back. Stay tuned. You don't know what I'm going to say. We're on YouTube. I can say whatever I want.
Say whatever you want.
Yeah. I can say curse words.
Well, we've said shit a few times.
Fuck. This is awesome. See you guys in a minute.
All right. Roll Tide. All right. There's Reagan. All right. Chad, special teams. Is there a question that Will Reichert's the special teams guy?
Well, it's not Kool-Aid.
Does he? Why is he running away from the punts? It's get somebody else in there if he doesn't want to do it.
I don't know. But it's Will Reichert. The award should just be named after him.
Yeah, right.
After this year, it shouldn't be called special teams. It should be called the Will Reichert squad or team.
He's the J.K. Scott of field goal kicking, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, you and me, let's get together tomorrow. Let's do a show tomorrow. We'll kind of just suck it all in and get back on here tomorrow and do a show for everybody and talk more about this one. But, man, what a win. What a win.
What a win, man. Great win. Great time. Great weekend. Enjoyed the hell out of it, talking and seeing everybody. And, yeah, join us tomorrow. I'm looking forward to recapping and getting the final thought celebration in before we move into bye week.
All right. All you guys that have hung out with us, I appreciate you guys being here for the show. Thanks to everybody at R&R Cigar for making this our home for the cigar game. Why not, man? So we've all hung out here and we're still hanging out. But I think an hour and 45 minutes later, I think we've said it all. Except Roll Tide, man. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. We'll kind of get back on this thing and start looking ahead. Now we'll probably just recap this again tomorrow and just look over it again. But we got 24 hours to enjoy this for all of you guys. So thank you for being here, and everybody, Roll Tide. Thank you. Keep the comments coming in and like and subscribe. Be part of our channel. Chad, thank you, brother, and Roll Tide, everybody.